Obviously, this is a week, and it always is every season, where you're down a huge amount of players. But at the same time, is this the type of week where you generally find out a lot about your squad?
Yeah, in fairness, they've been chomping at the bit to get an opportunity. A lot of these guys, they've been providing opposition for the starting team a lot of the time. So, yeah, hopefully they can step up and use all that good work, the experience of training against the starting team, put that to good use this weekend.
When you look back at this fixture in the last couple of seasons, like that game just before the Six Nations, this time last year, Joe McCarthy made his debut, and we've all seen what he's done. And the year before, Jamie Osborne came in and played for the first time for Leinster as well in that game before the Six Nations. I mean, is that something you only have to kind of show that example to the players of the impact you can make in a week like this?
Yeah, most definitely. It's a great opportunity because we're coming up against a very cohesive, Cardiff team. I know that they were unlucky on the weekend, but they've built up a fair bit of momentum over the few weeks, so they're going well. So it'll be a stern challenge, and they've got plenty of experience in their ranks as well. So it's by no means a stern challenge. So you'll get a great accurate feedback with these players who are getting the opportunity for the first time, similar to the names that you mentioned there this time last year. So it's a great opportunity, but it's going to be a stern challenge as well.
And just finally then for me, in terms of the scrum, it seems like that's been an area in the last month or so where there have been a few issues here and there in games. Like at the weekend against Racing, there were a couple of big penalties given up. I know Racing didn't fully punish them, and against the Ospreys there were also some issues as well. Are there fixes that need to be made in the scrum, do you think, at the moment? Yeah,
we need to get a few things right. We're in constant contact with the referees or the heads of referees with regards to the pictures that they're seeing. So that's just a constant dialogue going back and forth. But that aside, we come up against a very good Osprey team, very strong scrum as well. So it's good sometimes to just get that little bit of a wake up call that we're not quite as good as, or not quite where we think we should be. So it's definitely a few fix ups that we need to get right ahead of the weekend.
Thanks very much, Robin. Best of luck this week.
Thank you.
I'm well here from River Media. How are you?
Hi there.
Just want to ask you, after the weekend, obviously happy with the draw and the way things have worked out in the Champions Cup, Interpro against Ulster?
Yeah, you're always going to come up against tough opposition. In fairness, the group stages were hard enough as well. So whoever you're going to face is going to be a tough ask. We'll that's in the sort of long term view. There's a fair bit of rugby to go ahead of then, but does the familiarity go against us? Who knows, but they're going to be a stern challenge again. Ulster, they've dug deep last couple of weeks. When you come through tough times, I think you're going to be a better team. So they'll definitely be ready for us come the date.
Just for the weekend, obviously you've had a superb tournament so far in the URC, 9 points clear. Does that give you a little bit of a room to maybe experiment with a few things, whereas if you weren't so far ahead that you wouldn't be able to try things? Obviously you want to win every game, protect that unbeaten record, but is there a bit of room to try a few new things out?
We're constantly evolving, we're trying to move our game on week in, week out. There are small little areas of growth that we can see in our play and in individuals as well. Sometimes filling in an unaccustomed role, be it in defence or attack. But there's a fair bit of variation. at the moment in our game. So, yeah, variation, growth, just the ability to not be predictable and keep changing things up. Yeah, you know, whether that comes down as playing around with one or two things, but I think you're always looking to keep the players stimulated, keep them engaged in the process, and keep them improving and you know, make sure that they stay hungry and willing to learn. So yeah, at the moment I think there's been some good examples of that in the past few weeks. You know, along with one or two things that we're aware of that we need to shore up as well.
And listen, just finally for me, just to switch on something Neil said there, obviously there's been a fantastic production line at Leinster over the past few years. I know you're not going to name names, but is there a few other gems do you think that we're going to see over the next 6 months, 12 months come through that you're excited about?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I mean, you know, we get the privilege of seeing these guys training week in, week out, against what is in effect an international setup with a number of players we've got currently in the island camp. So you're able to get a good measure of where they're at, you know, when they come up against each other in training. So yeah, it's very exciting to get to see these guys training and have an opportunity on the weekend.
Thanks, Ron.
Cheers, thank you.
Yeah, Robin and Stone Swift here on audio. The tempo that Leinster play at requires exceptional fitness. Is that a point of difference between the likes of Racing and other Heineken Cup teams?
Yeah, you know, if we try and keep the ball in play pretty high, you know, and the way that we play is reflected in our training. So, you know, I think yes, you could call it a point of difference, but there's a lot of things that need to be right in order for that to happen as well. You know, we need to have a very strong set piece. Our contact skills need to be very good. Yeah, so you know, same as any team, I think if you allow a team to get into their stride, they're pretty tough to handle. So yeah, but the way we play definitely is reflected in the way we train.
Okay. Did Stuart Lancaster give away anything about Racing in their performance after the game?
No, he's professional to the end.
Indeed. Warren Gatland looks as if he's trying to get his old backroom team together, and you were once part of that. Do you think he can reproduce that old magic?
Yeah, you never underestimate Warren Gatland. That's the first thing. A lot of things have changed, I think, you know, since the last time Warren was involved with Wales. You know, there's a few new faces around, both in the management side and from a playing point of view as well. So, you know, I think he's got a very strong squad. He's put a very strong squad together to choose from. So it's going to be a very interesting Six Nations. Yeah, and you know, with those new coaches around him as well, obviously he's vastly experienced, so you know, he's able to lead them in many ways, and you know, they can put their own sort of twist on one or two things as well, I dare say. So yeah, it's going to be a very interesting Six Nations with a number of, you know, late sort of coaches coming into roles. You know, England, similarly with a new coaching setup there. So yeah, it's going to be, the first couple of weeks are going to be key again. So looking forward to seeing how they play out.